When you think about the team that has the most Super Bowls in an era, you think about smash mouth football, hard-nosed tackling, bone-crushing hits, smash mouth football when you're just running it down their throat. And that's what you think of when you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've got 6 Super Bowls since the Super Bowl era. They had that great run, that dynasty in the 70s with Bradshaw, Lenny Swan. Then you got the Jerome Bettis era, Ben Roethlisberger, and you just remember the Steel Curtain. Great defense. But if you look at them now, they've transitioned away from that defense and gone towards their offense. They've always had great running backs, Franco Harris, Jerome Bettis, and now they've got Le'Veon Bell. Well, Bell's had enough of what the Pittsburgh has really done. You look at it, they franchised him for a second straight year, and he's pissed about it. He wants to be paid like one of the best players in the league, which I think he deserves, at least so. But with this tag, he only gets $14 million. Okay, he didn't want that. He saw Todd Gurley, what he made, and he wants to get paid like the best player, like the best running back in football, okay? Because he does more than just run the football. He can catch. He had 85 catches out of the backfield last season. So what does Pittsburgh do? They offer him that tender. They do not care. So he just says, I'm not going to play. He skips all the preseason, okay? Now this is the 3rd week, and still no Bell, no contact. So they're going to be looking to trade him, I think. Pittsburgh is one team that's not going to sit there and go for these type of shenanigans. They do not care. They will let you walk, okay? Because they draft well. They don't give in. They usually don't pay people, okay? They're a lot like the Patriots. It's the next man up. They've drafted James Conner. It looks like he's going to be the back of the future, so on and so forth. But you look at that offense, and you think of Ben Roethlisberger, but he is such a huge part of this team winning and going forward, and they've struggled over the past couple weeks. If you looked at it, imagine if they had Le'Veon Bell, they could sit on that 30-10 lead against the Bucs, and they end this game. He helps move the sticks, and I think they deservedly should have paid him, but we are where we are now, and I just wanted to talk about a couple things and a couple teams that he could be traded. But at first, by Bell not showing up, he misses and doesn't make, he loses, I should say, $855,529 per week, okay? Up until he signs this tender. That's for one thing, okay? Bell can't be dealt until he signs this tenure, but he keeps losing it and losing it up until this point. If he does sign it, let's say week 4, he's not getting that $14 million tenure. He's only making about $11 million, so it keeps going down per week until he signs that. But they have until October 30th, 4 p.m. to trade him when he does, if and when he does sign this. Okay? So the team that does sign for Le'Veon Bell is going to obviously have to have the cap space. So at this point, with the way his contract is going, if he did sign today, that would be about $7.7 million. So you look, and I'm going to name my teams later. I just want to get this little shtick out. So this does limit Pittsburgh on what they're going to get in the compensation when they do trade him. So the longer he's basically holding all the cards. The longer he waits, the longer he drags this out, the less they get in compensation for the trade if and when they do trade him. Okay, so he has, and then you wonder, does he have a limit until when he can sign this? Okay, so he has until November 13th, until all Week 10 games have been played, for him to be able to come back. If he doesn't sign up until that point, he basically forfeits the season, and he looks forward to next year. So that's that. And a couple teams that I think should trade for him. All right, my top team would be the Green Bay Packers. You look at what they have. Aaron Rodgers is not 100%. You can tell that legs really bother him, and that's an offense that's geared all around Aaron Rodgers. Up-tempo offense. Imagine if they had a back like Le'Veon Bell there. Now, they have the capital to do it. They traded last year with the Saints. Okay, so they have 2 first-round picks. You don't know what that Saints pick's going to turn into, because they usually play pretty well. They're 2-1. So you don't know at the end of the year what that's going to be. They could falter. You don't know. So I say you give up one of those draft picks, team him and Aaron Rodgers together. Imagine if they did have that great run game to help out Aaron Rodgers with the play action, get it to Devontae Adams. I think that's just a match made in heaven. And then you don't put so much pressure on Aaron Rodgers, too. With that leg, it gives him time to heal. Time to get back to the old Aaron Rodgers self, and I believe that puts them right up in contention as Super Bowl contenders to fight with the Eagles. All right, that's for one. So they have the capital, and they also have the cap space. They've got, hold on, I wrote it down. They got $7.8 million in cap, so there's no hiccups there. And then you look at the Colts. Okay, there's another team that is struggling tremendously. They haven't had a serious back or legitimate back since Edgerrin James. And you look at the even though Peyton Manning's not there, but Andrew Luck is a guy that's been beaten up over the years. They haven't drafted well. It took them forever to finally build a line around him, so they've been doing that slowly over the years. But again, no legitimate back. Like, you got Naheem Hines there, who is no threat. You got Marlon Mack. Like, are you serious? There is no threat for them to run the ball, so everything falls on Andrew Luck. And his shoulders bang up. His career might be over. We don't know. Chad Pennington had the same injury, the same surgery. And look what happened to him. Okay? Was never the same guy. And just by watching Luck, even this past Eagles game, that arm strength is not there. So it limits him to throwing the long ball. If you are going to even try to run the ball, it's going to get stuffed. You don't have a legitimate back there. Now, they don't have the draft capital like, say, the Green Bay Packers do. Or let's say my next team I'm going to say. But they got 2 second-round picks. It's not going to be enough. You're going to have to throw a first-round pick in there to get him. But it would assist the Colts in getting a legitimate back there to help Andrew Luck again get healed and possibly have them fight for an AFC title and get back to where they're going. Before his injury, they were fighting for the AFC Championship against the Patriots. Okay? Third one is the Raiders. I think this, again, would be perfect, not only for John Gruden, he fits the style that he likes to run. Marshawn Lynch isn't getting any younger. You get a smash-mouth football back there. You get Le'Veon Bell, who can run the rock, does what John Gruden loves to do, is a back that can catch out of the backfield. Remember when he was with Tampa Bay, they had a little thunder and lightning there. Okay? You get him that can catch the ball out of the backfield, make multiple runs. They're struggling. And they need to get another franchise player in there since getting rid of Khalil Mack. You get a player like Le'Veon Bell, it might help them. It might help Raider Nation forget what you did by letting a Hall of Fame linebacker. It's not going to fix their defense, but it could get that offense humming again. You know, you also do want to pay Derek Carr. I get that. But they're one of the oldest. I think they're the oldest team in the NFL. So you want to get some fresh blood in there. He's only 26 years old, so he's still young. He's still got plenty on the tread. So if I was the Raiders, you've got those 2 picks that you acquired from the Bears, so they're going to have a lot of clout by being able to trade for him. And by him holding down, him not being liable, I don't think you're going to have to pay as much and not pay, like, give up as much draft capital as you would to say if you wouldn't have suspension and injury history and what he's done. So I think this is hurting Le'Veon at some point too. So a team wouldn't going to have to give up as much to acquire him. But other than the Packers, I think that Oakland connection is perfect. You're going out to Vegas next year. Getting a back like him would get the Raiders back on track. You would have, you know, your franchise quarterback to go with a Hall of Fame running back. Perfect. And then, you know, the Dolphins, I think, could be in play. They're 3-0. They don't have a legitimate back. Could help Ryan Tannehill. They don't have really any legitimate. I mean, Kenyon Drake is okay. He's more like a scat back, I think. But you get Le'Veon Bell to go with that offense. They got rid of, you know, Jarvis Landry last year. So you get a little more offensive firepower to go with that up-and-coming defense is nice. You know, the Texans also another team that could be in play, but it's to help out. They don't really have any draft capital. They have 2 second-round picks this year, but it's going to take more than, you know, a couple second-round picks to acquire Le'Veon Bell. But you help Deshaun Watson get back on track there. They have no legitimate running back. Lamar Miller's okay, but I think he's more of a complimentary back. They don't have the draft capital, but I don't want this to happen because Le'Veon would then come into my division, but I don't want that to happen. But if you do trade him with Deshaun Watson, it would help with the RPOs, help him because his knee, he doesn't look the same after that knee injury, but they have an offense there. You saw it before his injury. Deshaun Watson was cooking. You get Le'Veon Bell in that offense, and it helps the team progress to go along with that disappointing defense this year. But it would help them tremendously. But if out of any team, I think the Packers is the best match. made in heaven for Pittsburgh to make a trade with. They've got a new GM in there. It's not Ted Thompson, a guy that really took the safe bet, really just built through the draft. This new GM they have out there, the Packers, he's into wheeling and dealing. And if I was them, you try to, also preserve Aaron Rodgers, your franchises. He just doesn't look the same. You're letting him get banged up. I know Aaron Jones just came back, but he's not on the same level as Le'Veon Bell. You've got that 2 first-round picks. That first-round pick this year isn't going to equate to the talent level that you have in Le'Veon Bell. You've got the cap space. Pull the trigger, get him in there. They're serious contenders, and it helps Aaron Rodgers get back on track. So those are my teams that I think should make a trade for Le'Veon Bell. It's a shame because I think this hurts the NFL by him not being in here. It sucks because he deserves to get paid. Pittsburgh is definitely doing him dirty. I get it from both sides. You can't rely on him because of the suspensions. He's had a little bit of an injury history, but with him missing at least 4 games a year due to suspension, you don't want to pay the guy. But he has been the best offensive player, and that's tough to say because AB's on that team too. But it just makes it's a well-oiled machine out there in Pittsburgh, and all 3 of them on the Killer Bees together, they're unstoppable. They're close to unstoppable. You're in Super Bowl contention year in and year out. This year, I don't know what they're going to do. If I was Le'Veon, I'd scat because that defense is atrocious. But I get it. He deserves to be paid. He saw that Todd Gurley got paid. He does just as well, if not better, than Todd Gurley. Colts, you think the Niners? I don't think the Niners will trade for him. Big Ben gets injured too, so go figure. Yeah, I mean, it's a sticky situation that Pittsburgh's in, but they're not going to fault for a guy saying he's not going to come in. They're not going to fold by him acting like a child and stomping his feet and saying, I'm not coming in. It's not hurting them at all because by him losing all that money, it's not counting against Pittsburgh's cap. They get a credit for it, And also with the roster spot, they're able to exceed the 53-man roster due to his situation on what he's doing. So this isn't hurting Pittsburgh whatsoever. They're not losing any money. It's not counting against their cap. So the only person that Le'Veon's hurting is himself and his pocket. Imagine Bell with Tampa's high-powered offense. Yeah, I mean, I didn't put them in the mix because they've got that slew of backs there. I don't think their line's good enough to really help Le'Veon Bell exceed there, but you get another big guy, can catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, that's a lethal offense. They've got the 3 best wide. I think they have the best wide receiver core in the NFL with Tampa Bay. They don't really have the capital. I haven't checked on their cap space. The Colts, I totally skipped over their cap. They've got $51 million, so they could take on Le'Veon's salary, whatever, and pay him whatever he wanted. They have one of the highest caps out there. Raiders would be in a little sticky situation. They'd have to lose some players, but again, they're the oldest team in the NFL, so they could clear some space. They're only at $7 million, so a little under what it would take to take on Le'Veon Bell. And by them moving to Las Vegas, I mean, and getting a type of back that John Gruden loves. And they got, right, EDP, 654, whatever number that was. They just drafted Ronald Jones, even though he's the 3rd string. He wasn't, he struggled a bit in training camp. And the Texans have quite a bit of cap, too. They have $25 million. So if they were to make a play, all these teams have the ability to make a trade for Le'Veon Bell. They drafted Jones, but Sean, he's not a bust. He's a rookie. I mean, you can't call a guy a bust when he's a rookie. He's struggled. Bell needs to get anywhere but the Jets. Yeah, I don't know why the Jets, I've heard that the Jets are a landing spot, but it's because it's a big market and they have a ton of money. It wouldn't be feasible for him to go there unless he just cares all about the money, but winning a championship-wise, he's far from it. By the time they're in contention, I mean, he's going to be, that stigma with backs, by the time they hit 30, they're done, which I don't believe totally, because you look at Adrian Peterson and Frank Gore had success after they hit 30. Ball straight up for Fournette. Yeah, nah, I don't want that, Sean. I'm happy with Fournette. I'm good. But if you put Bell with Aaron Rodgers, dude, it's a match made in heaven. Then we're Oakland. Perfect situations. So, that's my thoughts on it. your guys. Leave your comments what you think. Do you think it's feasible for Pittsburgh to just sit on it? Do you think Le'Veon Bell's going to sit out all year just to spite Pittsburgh and then just get his contract next year? Because he could do that. Save his body. He doesn't have to. If he does come back, Pittsburgh would probably run him into the ground and get everything out of him that they wanted. Just run him into the ground, use them all up. So he might just say, screw you, Pittsburgh. I'm going to sit out all year, get my body, stay in shape. But, you know, for him to get in shape and be ready and just get on the same page to get traded, I hope that situation happens, because it sucks for the NFL for us not to be able to watch a talent like Le'Veon Bell be on the field. He deserves to get paid. I get that. It sucks for the franchise tenure, too. Now, there's another tidbit. If a player can only be franchise tagged 3 times in his entire career, if he is tagged on the 3 times in a row, then the tenure goes up to about $25 million, depending on what the cap of the NFL depends to be. So that goes with the players' union. But a player can only be tagged 3 times in his entire career, and then the tenure goes up each and every time. So it would be about $25 million a year if he gets tagged the 3rd time, and the cap goes up to about $190 million. We'll see. So you guys, what do you think? Do you think it makes sense for the Packers to go after him? Or is there a team I possibly missed that you think it would be a better fit for Le'Veon to go to? A lot of questions. This is the drama in the NFL. And it sucks for fantasy owners that took Le'Veon Bell, that have just him sitting on the bench. Thank God I wasn't picking in the top 4 this year, so I didn't have that chance. But I was going to skip over him, not knowing I had Le'Veon last year and this kind of happened. But he worked through in camp and he carried my team to the championship last year. So I won it. So it sucks for fantasy owners, but overall it just sucks for the NFL and the fans. Patriots? Nah, they're not getting Le'Veon Bell, no way. Packers need him. Him and Luck is my wish. It would make sense for both of them. Just to help out those 2 quarterbacks that are injured and just don't look like themselves. To rely on a running game would really aid Luck and Aaron Rodgers getting healthy. More so Aaron Rodgers, because the Colts aren't going to be in contention with how stacked the AFC is. It's better off for the Packers to make that move, especially since they made that trade with the Saints last year. Imagine that. You trade down. You still get the players you needed in the cornerbacks. The Saints were aggressive and traded up for Marcus Davenport, and you get that 1st-round pick, and that turns into a Le'Veon Bell. Whew. Sick. Yeah, I think the Steelers should have got a phone call. But my lunch is over, so yeah. Just let me know. This is Kyle Gaffner on the Bitter Birds. What do you think, or where do you think Le'Veon Bell should go? And does he deserve to get paid as much as Todd Gurley, or if not more? All right, guys, I'm out. Peace.